internet is doing its best. It's Tuesday once again on my on and on my ramblings. Today I decided to take on a topic that naturally people don't tend to go towards to about death and our perception and how we think about it and how we were introduced to it personally from my personal experience. I was never sat down by either parent to be told, yeah, like there's life, uh, you might die or transcend to a different space or a different notion of life. But I learned fast because I remember when I was younger and I was the only child, my mom, in case there was a death in the family, my mom will prefer to take me along. I'll just see people crying, and for me, it was like an outing. I'm getting snacks. The only child at that time, the only grandchild, and it didn't like hit me like there's a loss. The first time it did was we went to my mom's stepsister's burial, but that time it didn't hit me as much because during that time I lost a shoe. It was during the cars, we used to call them face me face you. You sit facing each other, and it didn't. As long as I was eating my chocolate and snacks, and it was like a trip, kinda. I didn't feel like I've lost somebody. So the first time I remember that it really hit me is with my mom's father, my grandfather, who we were so close to each other. And when he got ill and was rushed to hospital, I knew about it. And I remember the night he passed on, I had a dream about, like, I had a dream and I actually told my mom the next day. Hello, welcome. In case of any comments, questions, you can comment and I'll convey it. So, hi Siva, please English only. And hi Amit and Manoj. Hi, I'm from Kenya. So, my first encounter with death was when I was 8 years old, and it was with my, like, now officially, like, it hit me. It was my grandfather, and it I dreamt the night he passed on. No, here's the weirdest thing. I dreamt that I was talking to him and we were talking sitting on clouds. I have never had a weird dream before that, like that. And when this happened, and I went bed alone, I went to sleep alone. And during that dream, when we were talking, and the last thing I remember was him telling me we'll see each other soon. And then I woke up and saw my aunties had come later on in the evening, and they were sleeping in my bedroom. So it was a shock for me, first of all, and I was getting ready to go to school. My mom just woke me up, and then I was confused. I actually didn't tell her about the dream first. So when I woke up and saw that, and then after I got ready and went to the sitting room to have my breakfast before going to school, then I found my grandmother there and my other aunt, and it was all like overwhelming. Like, I didn't sleep. When I went to bed, these people are not in this house. So how come they're all of a sudden in the house? They didn't tell me that day when my grandfather passed on. And I went to school as normal, but it bothered me. And plus, the dream kept on replaying in my head. Weirdly enough, at school, I was quiet, and I was not known as a quiet kid. I was known for a kid that doesn't settle down. I was always up and running, like walking. Free time when the teacher is not in the class, I'll be walking towards my friend, having chatting with a friend. I'll not sit in my desk, so I'll be up and running. So that evening, actually, it was on a Friday. When I went back home, that's when my mom broke the news that granddad has passed on, and I became just somber. I didn't have, like, it was a shock. I was hit with a huge shock, and I didn't know how to react. Um, went back, like, then my mom said, since the funeral arrangements will be made, and where he's going to be laid to rest at his home where my grandmother lives, we'll have to go there. So no school, and help out whenever we needed to help. My brother was just learning how to walk. He was not, yeah. So we went home at my grandmother's place. We had the, here we call them matanga, but internationally it's known as a wake, like come pay respects for, to help the family prepare for the funeral. In our culture, in Kikuyu culture, we bury our loved ones after a week. We don't stay for long. Like the mourning period, you may mourn after the burial, but that period of coming together and arranging, preparing the burial site, and all the preparations that are needed, for us it's 1 week. Some cultures in Kenya do it. There are others who do it for a month. It's different. Remember, Kenya, we are about 50 tribes. So yeah, every tribe has a different way of how they deal with it. So we went home, did the wakes every evening. We do wakes, and then there's once on that Sunday we did a service or mass, a pre-mass before now the burial time, and then the preparations were done. That time I was involved, and family, we have a big family. Mind you, my grandfather had married 3 wives. So my grandmother is the last wife. So kids from the first, second, and the grandchildren, we came together and gave him a send off, a lovely send off. Now that time I remember on the burial day, there was a lot of people, and I think it even hit me realization that I'll not see my grandfather again, because when we were staying that week long at my grandparents home, I was used to being sent to serve him his food in his okay, in Kikuyu we have the the husband has his own house, and the wife has in like, not house, like sit where he sleeps, and then the wife also a different room, in case now if they are built for the, like a family home. That's a different, actually it's changing with time. Nowadays it's just one house, but traditionally there was the the man of the home, we called it dingira. And how it was set was, from the main gate when you enter the homestead, you meet the first wife, like how the wives are come. But now if it is the compound of one of the wives alone, hers was next to the gate. Then directly opposite is the husband's room, and then next, as you're going towards the exit, that's where the boys quarters was. and then the girls' quarters was a different area. Then the, let's say, the silo where you store your dry grains, then the sheep's shed just close by, and then it's sealed off by a fence, but entry point is one gate, and then you all do that. So when we did, now when I remember when I got super emotional was during the burial, and when my grandfather was being lowered to his grave, and that's when I broke down, because I also saw my mom and her siblings break down and crying. Even one of them nearly said she's following their father. She nearly wanted to be buried alive by the it was just all craziness. Then after that, that was my first time like in family that I felt the impact of death. And the second time, it was scary for me. That that year of class 3, I said, through my life experience and how I grew up, I talked about it in class 3 before, like January. There's a girl in our estate neighborhood where we used to play with her, and she passed on. That's the first person, like, I was like, this is outside family but affects me. So when she passed on, her family was from the western side of Kenya, decided to do a wake according to their traditional, which was scary for me. The wake had her body at the wake. In our traditional, when we do the wake, the body is still in the morgue or a funeral home. We only see the body during burial, when we go pick it up from the mortuary or the morgue or the funeral home, and view the body there, then bring it either to church, wherever the service will be done, if it's the church or the homestead. My grandfather's was in the homestead. He was not a churchly person, but you're not, if you're staying at his home, you're not staying at home on Sunday, you need to go to church. That was according to him. So we did the service in the homestead, and then buried him. But now this other experience was a girl. She was 2 years younger than me. She passed on. She had contracted meningitis, and then she died in the hospital. So the family, when they were doing their wake, decided, not decided, according to their tradition, the wake is done with the body in the casket in the homestead. And since she was not going to be buried here, they decided they do it one day for the friends and family, or friends or neighbors who will not be able to travel to their country home. And we went as like kids from the neighborhood. We were like, yeah, let's go, because it's one of us we used to play with. Let's go and pay our respect. That's the first time I saw a child in a casket, and it really freaked me out. I had nightmares for weeks, and because that was not something I had viewed in my mind, it was a shock on me. And I remember my grandfather, I never viewed his body. When they went to mortuary, uh, they went to the mortuary too early. So my brother was still mm, on baby food. So yeah, I stayed back home. So when I saw this young girl, it shocked me. Never seen that picture. It imprinted in my head like, wow, even us young people. That's when I started now uh, opening up about, yeah, death can come to you anytime. So that is when I was 9 years old now. So we saw that and gave me nightmares. And then that year was like, whew, I was still mourning my grandfather. That is when I was 8 years. And then now, when I'm 9, going to turn 9, a friend has passed on. I've seen her in the casket. It's just shocking. Then after that, that year, the same year, that's when I found my our house help in the house dead on my bed after trying to abort her child, and it failed, and she passed on in my bed. And I came home and found her limp, and I didn't know she was dead. So yeah, and that gave me a traumatic. I think also it was a combination of um I'm still mourning my grandfather, and then my friend is passed on, and then now this one. And that's when I shut down and became mute. I could not speak. No words will come out of my mouth. I needed to go through therapy therapy and counseling. My mom's colleague, she was working in the high school, offered to help, and that's when I opened up after 6 months. That's when I started talking. But before that, I could not utter any words, and I could not be able to sleep in my bedroom because I found this person dead in my house in their bedroom. Um, After that, the last after that, the other burial I went to was when I was in class 6 or 7. It was the grandmother of a primary school classmate, and the family is a family friend of ours. And we were going at the same time going to visit my grandmother. And what bothered me about that was where we went to view the body before the burial was the same mortuary, not mortuary, the same funeral home where my mom had picked their dad, and I didn't go, remember. I was left at home. And I saw her emotions because all the memories she had about when they did come and pick their father from the same funeral home. She actually, even she was telling me at the same time, that's this where we took granddad from. And where she stood is this is where I stood when we came to pick up granddad, and she started crying, and I was the one who was consulting her. And it was like, wow, okay, funerals, it's a touch and go feeling. It can evoke emotions that you didn't expect to evoke, or it can even make you go numb, not feeling anything. um I remember the other funeral that really affected me was for my classmates. Oh yeah, classmate in class 5, and he was a good friend of mine. We were very close, and we were just told in school that he had um, incurred an accident, a road accident, and he had passed on. But as class, our class was taken to his funeral service, but we didn't go to the burial site. So, but that time during funeral service, I remember I cried. Yeah, I really cried, and I was just like, this is wow. But growing up as a human, you'll experience such, or you'll not experience such, uh, from like different ages, seeing different age sets passing on, people you're close to or not, and it can affect you differently. Um, and we don't talk about this as much. I really like to know how you got to find out about death, like what happens. For me, I learned on, like, life is too short, and appreciate every uh, every achievement you do, everything that you're doing, live live at with it. Like, that's why my motto is live with no regrets, because if you regret what you're doing, then you're not living your life. You just accept, live with acceptance. That's what I can say. It's a hard thing. Then you see like different cultures you hear about. um there's what's called reincarnation. I'm starting, hopefully there's a movie I saw about it and it was like very interesting. It was an Indian flick, and it's called Maki. It's about a guy who loved a girl, and then he was killed because of somebody who was envious about their love and wanted to take the girl away from this guy, and they killed him, and then he reincarnated. He died and became a fly that really protected the lady, and guided her not to fall in the clutches of this evil guy, and guided her for her to fall in love with a good-hearted person. And it we actually watched it with my grandmother while she was recovering from surgery. It was interesting enough, and I was like, wow, imagine that if whatever you do on earth and you pass on and you're reincarnated in a different animal, you might not choose the animal you want to be reincarnated as, but if you're coming back and you're making things right, you might transcend to a different, higher um, being. That I would love to believe that. Um, Also, for us who are uh, born and raised Catholic strictly, we are told about after you die, you either go to purgatory so that you I don't want to get it wrong. According to what I understood, that when you die, um, if you're a good person, you wait, you go to heaven, and if you're an evil person, you go to hell. But if you have sins that can be forgiven, that's when you go to purgatory and you pray. You live on praying, so that either if they get forgiven, you can go to heaven or go back to hell, not earth. So yeah, but I found it, for me, trying to understand that as a child, and then you're looking like, so if you go to purgatory, you're halfway bad, halfway good. I didn't get that. So there's then the other Christianity belief that if you die, we wait for judgments, the final judgments, that you're dead. Your soul is just there, waiting for the judgment day, so that when the trumpet blows, that's when now your life, it's like we watch your life like a movie, and if you're good or bad, that's when it's decided. Then there are other Christians who believe about that will be given another new body. And this is where I have a weird question about that, because some of them, I've even had some pastors and preachers preach about it. They condemn uh, cremation, saying that if you burn your body, so when we are woken up for the final judgment, which body will you go to? Then I question that by saying, when they bury people or do the final ceremony, they say dust to dust and ash to ash. Why then say ash to ash if that is not incorporated in the ash can also be risen up? and also the soul. Yeah, it's a lot to unpack about that. So speaking about the soul, it's its own body. So does it need a body to live, or what will happen in the final days? Who knows? We wait and see. That's how I live my life. I'm like, I'll wait and see, because if I start pondering about that and it's something that I cannot reach, not unless I get the divine intervention of opening up my third eye and seeing things that I don't know or currently know, it will help a lot. Yeah. So that's my intake about death. But yeah, I've also, oh, the last, I remember the other one that when I was still schooling, we were just about to graduate, and then we lost one of our classmates, and we went to his funeral. Um, and I was told to speak, which was hard for me because I was the class rep. And then speaking to the Kikuyu people, I my Kikuyu is whew, wanting. And it reaches a point, I just say it just ends in my brain, like I cannot speak about it. I'll just speak Swahili, and you may you may understand or not. So, and people say, oh yeah, burnt house. No, it's not about people born from the city. It's like, for me, my Kikuyu is difficult and sometimes hard to speak my native language, because one, my mother is half Masai, half Kikuyu, and her Kikuyu, the one that she's brought up with, is from Nyandarua. That's Nyandarua County. And my dad is pure Kikuyu from Nyeri County. Kikuyu, speaking in Kikuyu, like I said initially, Kikuyu has sub sub language. We have the original one, which is the Kirinyaga one. That's another different Kikuyu. It's not the normal Kikuyu here out here. Then we have the Nyeri Kikuyu. That one, that's what my grandfather, my dad's side grew up with, and it has different grammar from the Kikuyu that is normal. Then the Kikuyu that is normal hails from Kiambu and Nyandarua and Nyahururu. So you see, there's difference. So I remember I used to go to different countryside. When I went to my grandmother from my mom's side, I'll speak a different Kikuyu, then go back to my dad's side the next holiday. And if I speak my mom's side Kikuyu on this side, it's not acceptable. So that confusion, and then still learning English and Kiswahili, and still mingling with people from different counties. Yeah, don't blame the children from Nairobi and city areas. It's not easy, but at least if they can understand and you can communicate, just accept it. Just a side note, wisdom. So yeah, that was my point on death. In case of any pointers, you can forward them or comment later. Now I'm on to the comments, reading them. Siva again, Siva Kumar, hi, welcome. Amit, hi, welcome, thank you. Manoj, where are you from? I'm from Kenya. Name, Wincat. Yeah, but fully name is Winfred Catherine. Hi. Ooh, Mira. Chapon. Hi. The Nuri, the Linman Ganlin. Expound on that. Manoj, what is your name? Winfred, can you name a car from an edit? No, I can't. Chopin, hi. Amit, love you too. Love back, back, back. Manish, hi, hi. Hi, sweetheart, hi. Mazda 3. Oh, the people were commenting about the cars. Yeah. Sukaj, do a backflip. What does that mean? I'm not a gymnast. That one you'll not find me doing. Yeah. Manish, where am I from? I'm from Kenya. Posha, you're so kind, you're a beautiful person, and you have a kind heart. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much for that. Shapon, hi. Again, hi. Amit, I love you. Love you too. Manish, can you speak Hindi? Oof. No, I can't, but I want to learn. Any pointers or tutors out there? Please forward it. Until next Tuesday for the ramblings and talking about life and anything that we deal with as humans in this earth. We might be humans in Mars. Yeah. Until next time, bye. Yay.